Alright,
शेयर करते जाओ।
Let's start.
okay.
अब बीच में नहीं आना। इसकी पावर देख लो, चालू है ना।
Good afternoon and welcome to another episode of our weekly MindSpeak webinars that we bring to you every Sunday at 2 p.m. These episodes are brought to you since you have all opted and encouraged the MindSpeak team to continue to illuminate our minds and our hearts. The jewelry industry has a 5,000-year-old history, and we have the skills and the crafts which have been maintained by our craftsmen over the centuries. But these skills and crafts need to be revived, they need to be restored and redeveloped to maintain our old culture and traditions. A country or a people are nothing if they do not maintain their basic realities and fundamentals that existed in their cultures and their lifestyles. The topic of discussion today is reviving the unique skills and crafts of India. Many traditional arts and crafts of India are dying
सीरियसली
due to modernization and technological developments as we have found easier methods to manipulate the art. These handmade crafts and tales of India are on the verge of extinction and getting replaced by machine made or fast manufacturing process oriented products. Dying arts and crafts of India in the field of jewelry include Dokra, Bidra, Tarakashi, blue pottery, Desi Minakari, the art of Jadai, Rasrava, hand engraving, etc. And to talk about the revival of these crafts, we have a panel of experts today, all uniquely different designers and creators, to be moderated by none other than the erstwhile Sri Hemant Shah, who has been himself an institution and a great exponent and a promoter of the dying arts and crafts, and has been over many years building this as a great service and has built it as a business. The panel members shall express all their commitments and their knowledge of these crafts and ways they employ to retain and revive and popularize them effectively in the good interests and the traditions of our country and industry. To start with, uh, we have with us Rupa Vora. Rupa is India's premier revivalist and couture designer, among an innovator of many sorts, and I have the privilege of knowing her for over 20
हेडफोन
years.
लगा लो। हेडफोन
Rupa
लगा
was
लो।
among the first to bring about Theva jewelry in the branded format to the consumers. After she formed Rupa Vora Fine Jewelry, she offers an ultimate luxury experience in her fine boutique and has gained a reputation among patrons of art with an understanding and affinity for the opulent. She is very talented and has spread her wings now in fine jewelry and watches. We have with us another wonderful personality, Pooja Vaswani, who is a certified jewelry designer and a gemologist and a graduate on diamonds from the GIA. She has impeccable tastes and skills in the art of designing and creates bespoke jewelry. She hails from the city of diamonds, that is Surat, but now she's been based out in Delhi for the past 20 years. Pooja has her own brand, Pratharv Jewels. Her levels of perfection speak volumes on her brand's commitment to creating timeless pieces. Her passion for exploring uncharted territories in her quest for promoting the lesser known and dying Indian jewelry craft led her into the world of Gulabi Binakari from Varanasi. She has been continuously promoting this art form by creating exquisite pieces of jewelry which boast of her designs in Gulabi Meenakari art form, which now happens to have geological indication tag also. Besides creating employment for the talented yet unknown craftsmen of our country and supporting livelihoods, Pooja's endeavor is to showcase this art form at a global stage. She has collected many awards and accolades over the years and has had an accomplished career. We have with us also Shirin Amin. who has been creatively inclined towards her designing by chance. She started her career at a very early stage in life, fascinated by the world of gems and jewelry. A first generation jewelry designer, Shireen created a niche for herself in the firmament filled with Indian designers. The winner of an Artisan Award and nominated for NGA Awards, she is an MBA degree holder in marketing and aims high and wants to expand beyond jewelry and into the world of accessories. She's also worked in various reputed national and multinational companies of India. She has designed for some of the top international brands, catalog companies, TV channels, aviation companies, and has created many pieces for the ramp shows. We have another panelist, Vishnu Soni, who belongs to a family of jewelers and has his heart and mind wound around the gems and jewelry industry. Graduated from the Arch Academy of Design, he worked with the Amrapali Jewels as a head designer for almost 5 years. He had the prospect to work with uh, many other industry renowned celebrities like Manish Arora, Neeta Lula for movie sets like Bahubali, Manikarnika, and many more. He is constantly searching for new elements to inspire and drive his passion for creativity. And he always loves to challenge himself, as he says. He now runs a research and development based B2B jewelry brand called Twastar Jewels, where the focus is providing jewelry industry with industry unique designs, techniques, and completely fabricated jewelry pieces. He works with a lot of renowned national and international jewelry brands like Malabar, Tholia Kuber, Alice Sicilori, Holly Diamond, etc. He is also currently working with Gauri Khan for her personalized jewelry. So friends, this is a 90-minute seminar. We're going to leave 15 minutes for questions and answers in that 90 minutes. And I now hand you over to Mr. Hemant Shah to begin his presentation.
Thank you. Thank you, Ashok Bhai. I am first going to let the others speak. But before I really talk about reviving unique skills and crafts of India, I'd like to give you a short background.
Your sound is not too good, Hemant bhai. So loud.
Okay, I'm sorry. But before I start talking about that, I would first like to acknowledge the graciousness and kind gesture by Rupa in joining us today. It gives all of us a really enthralling experience and opportunity to be on the same platform and listen to who I have always regarded as the pioneer when it comes to taking an Indian craft and making it global. Thank you, Rupa, for being here.
Thank you. Thank you, Ashok bhai.
Thank you.
What we are going to talk about today is very important. We've been talking about this topic for a long time, but what is really important right now is that with the Make in India thrust, reviving Indian crafts, modernizing them without losing the charm of the traditional craft and taking it global is an immense opportunity. Also, our industry today needs to shift from just what is available today and start creating, innovating, and presenting new product to the customers. Today is an opportunity for us to increase our share of the consumer's wallet, especially with the way COVID has changed things. There is going to be lesser spending on some of the competitive items like travel, tourism, maybe even clothes to a certain extent. And therefore, there is the opportunity that we have as an industry to grab that share and bring it to our product. And that is why I feel that this is the right time to talk about this and take examples from people who have been working on various crafts and making sure that they bring them to the forefront. We have 4 panelists today, as Ashok Bhai just introduced them, and all of them are going to talk on different topics. As for me, besides being the moderator, I am also going to present some of my experiences and thoughts on the crafts that I work with. To begin with, I would request Pooja to please take us through her journey of working with the Gulabi Meenakari from Kashi. Pooja, over to you.
Can you see my screen?
No, you have not yet shared your screen.
I just shared it, sir.
Yeah, you're having a problem, Pooja?
I just shared my screen, sir. Just give me 1 minute.
Yeah.
Can you see my screen, sir,
Yes.
now?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, yeah.
Please
Perfectly
go
well.
ahead. Please go ahead.
Hello, everyone. I'm Pooja Vaswani from Delhi. And I happened to maybe pick up a book from an airport about Indian handicrafts. And I saw a few pieces of Gulabi Meenakari jewelry. And I decided to make a very small collection based on it. So that took me to Varanasi. And I met the artisans, I went to their homes, and I saw how they are working. So there was this bracelet which which I had sketched, and I kept with myself for a very long time, and I was unable to manufacture it. Even in Bombay, and being from Surat, I tried everywhere in Surat. I could not. So I just gave one sketch of mine to them, and I asked them to try it out for me in silver. So, to my surprise, the piece was so beautiful that the moment it was made, it was sold. And that encouraged me to work further in this craft. And I made an entire collection of 21 pieces, which I showcased in IJ's signature. And again, I received an amazing response because it was totally different. It was something which no one had seen before. And I modernized their designs, but the skills of these artisans are unbelievable. They're unmatched. So that's how I started my journey 2 years back in Gulabi Meenakari. And I designed the collection called A Tribute to Kashi. As I continued working with these craftsmen, I realized that it's a dying art form, and I developed a kind of relationship where I didn't want to give up on it, even after this collection got over. So now I'm deeply committed to promoting this art form and supporting the livelihoods of all these artisans. There's a little brief video of a ring which I want to show you. It is a beautiful handcrafted piece, and if you see the intricacy, you will be surprised yourself. So today, in the times of digital printing, when we can get everything so perfect, handcrafted pieces, according to me, have a special charm to itself, and it's something which every woman, I believe, would love to own. I would also like to show you the process of Gulabi Meenakari, though I'm sure most of you are aware, but it is a little different from our Jaipuri Meena. So let's have a look. Sorry. So the ancient Indian dyeing art form, Gulabi Meenakari, has my total commitment in the form art form. It is so beautiful. I've been doing jewelry for 16 years, but the kind of creations I've made till now, I believe these are one of my best. And then again, at this stage in my career, I have a deep desire to work with these artisans and really help them. To top it all, our Prime Minister, which is always promoting vocal for local, encourages me even more. And I want to be a proud Indian, and I want to support my country, and I want to support my Indian artisans. So that is the main reason why I am not going to give up on Gulabi Meenakari. Even if I continue creating other creations, collections, Gulabi Meenakari will definitely be a part of it. So to create this collection, some of the designs were very minimalistic and some were very elaborate. So I could cater to the vast audience. Some prefer very ornamental, like this piece, if you can see here, this is the exact piece I was talking about. There were a lot of artisans I contacted in Bombay and Surat who could not do this particular piece. So when this piece for the first time, I made it in silver and I showed it to somebody from the industry, he immediately bought it for his wife. He said, Pooja, I am not letting go of this piece. I want to buy it from you right now for my wife. And that's when I was encouraged and I made this piece now in gold because I deal in fine jewelry. And that's how I plan to continue making collections. I'll show you a few of my other pieces. But there were few challenges because working with these artisans was not easy. So they are used to making traditional jewelry. I tried to give a twist to their jewelry because since it's a dying art form, there has to be some reason it's a dying art form. People are no more interested in the original designs. They want to move away. So that's when I decided, let me put in some of my own designs and see how it works. So I got the centerpieces made from them and I got the setting done from another team of artisans, the Bengali karigars who could do the setting. So it was a very tedious job. I started in November and the collection was ready after 1 year, only 21 pieces in 1 year. So it was a very tedious process for me, but being handcrafted, they turned out to be beautiful. And that's why I think we got the response we got in IIGS. So few finished pieces products I would just like to show you. These are traditional jhumkis which I kept simple, elegant for almost anyone. Maybe a teenager, maybe a lady like me, or anybody can wear these jhumkis for any semi-casual occasion. Then there are these kind of rings which I called the Queen collection. I made 5-6 pieces. Most of them are sold and I don't have pictures right now. So maybe the picture is not very clear, but I'm wearing the piece. I can show it to you later. Then I made a range of devotional jewelry, which had 3 Ganeshas. If you could see Gulabi Meenakari, it's not just pink. It's a beautiful blue and the other beautiful subtle colors which they bring out. So I have done this collection of devotional jewelry, which has karma wheels, which has Ganesha and Radha Krishna and the other gods. Again, this was a huge hit in IIGS. This is another piece. If you could see, this is the painting. It's very difficult to find it, the kind of work. This is another contemporary piece which I tried to create because I was wanting to have a larger audience to my jewelry and not limited to the traditional traditional jewelry wearing people. So I maybe made a heart and I tried to create it like a more retro piece. This is another one from the Queen collection, which was already sold by now. This is another one. So I also tried to consciously keep the pricing of these pieces very, very low. And the karigars, unlike, they made the piece so light, the piece looks very big, but it's weightless. It's absolutely weightless. That was one reason. Another reason is I kept the use of diamonds to minimum so that I can give more work to the karigars and I can get more orders on that because we all know the kind of phase our industry is going since past 2-3 years, and people are willing to spend on lightweight jewelry, and they don't have big budgets. So, well, initially this is the sketch. You saw the earrings. That's the sketch for the earrings. So initially it was another collection for me when I started out, but now I'm deeply associated with it, and there's no way I'm letting go of this art form. All my jewelry pieces will have Gulabi Meenakari integrated in one way or the other. After the success of IIJ signature, my next stop was JCK. But before we could do anything, the current situation put everything on hold. But we did not stop, and I have already given a lot of sketches to my artisans to start work. Since they work from home, so that was never a problem for us. They are continuing to work, and as soon as everything is okay, we are ready to launch our next collection, a tribute to Kashi, maybe part 2. So I believe it's a handcrafted product. It's difficult. It won't be as durable, I would say, as the painted or the screen printed enamel. But it has its own beauty, which is totally unmatched. So that's why I believe it has a great future, and people from the industry have appreciated it, and I believe it should do well at the international platform as well. And that's all from me. Thank you, Hemant sir. Back to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Pooja. Appreciate it. If you could please stop sharing your screen now. Thank you. Okay, that was great and a good insight into why and how of Gulabi Meenakari. Before we take questions or before we get into a discussion, I think we will follow the procedure of having all the 5 panelists first present themselves, and then we will look at the question and answer session. So I would now request Vishnu. Vishnu, if you can please tell us about your craft and your experiences with the craft.
Hi, everyone listen me?
Yes.
Hi, myself Vishnu Soni. I'm working from Toast right now. And I'm very thankful to every panelist over here who gave me the chance to present my opportunity, presentation over there. So I will come on the screen sharing. Start with a simple video of the Jadao process. So just give me a second. This is the base technique basically. First we have to make base for the production, for the product. After that we do engraving, after then enamel. There is a lots of technique also in an enamel. After then wax filling into the product. After then stone setting. Pard, Kundan Jadai. This is done by 24 KT pure gold basically. Both side Jadai. Okay. Then I will come on a simple presentation. I would like to talk about can you all see my presentation?
No. No, your screen is stopped sharing. Yeah, that's better. Yep.
Yeah, can you see?
Yes.
So here I will start with the Jadao. As you know, Jadao is a very rich or very classy and elite technique in the world. No one can do in the world. The only it is possible in basically in India only. In India में भी कुछ शहर जैसे कि अपने राजस्थान की मैं बात करूं तो राजस्थान में जयपुर और बॉम्बे दो मतलब जयपुर और बीकानेर दो ऐसे शहर हैं जहां पे टेक्निक हो सकती है पॉसिबल। तो सबसे पहले मैं फोकस करूंगा कि मैंने इस टेक्निक को क्यों चुना। शुरू से बिकॉज इट्स माय हेरिडिटरी बिजनेस, मेरे दादा पिताजी और मैं हम सब इस बिजनेस को शुरू से करते आए हैं। तो मेरा इंटरेस्ट कारीगरों की तरफ इसीलिए रहा क्योंकि ये एक बहुत ही डीप और इंटरेस्टिंग डिटेलिंग वाला वर्क है। यहाँ पे मतलब अपन देखें तो ये 4 से 5 प्रोसेस के थ्रू होता है और जो कि कंप्लीटली हैंडमेड है। हैंडमेड का मतलब इसमें मतलब जो 4 से 5 प्रोसेस हैं वो कि अलग अलग स्टेजेस से होते हुए जाते हैं और इसमें बेसिकली हम 24 कैरेट का फॉइल ही यूज कर सकते हैं। और राजस्थान में 2 ही जगह पॉसिबल है। तो आजकल वैसे ये काफी शहरों में भी होने लगा है, इसके वर्कर काफी होने लगे हैं, सीखने लगे हैं क्योंकि फैक्ट्रीज और कॉलेजेस इनके थ्रू भी हमने काफी एक्सपेरिमेंट किए हैं ताकि लोग करने लगे। इसलिए इसको इनोवेटिव किया जा सकता है ज्वेलरी इंडस्ट्री में जड़ाव को। सेकेंड, हम विल come on to that experience with the artisans। जैसा कि मैंने बताया कि ये स्टेज मतलब कि हम इसकी मैन्युफैक्चरिंग की बात करें तो इसमें ये बहुत सारे स्टेजेस से होके निकलेगा कि हमें पहले बेस बनाना पड़ेगा, उसके बाद उसकी एनग्रेविंग करनी पड़ेगी या रिफ्यूजे करना पड़ेगा या इनामल करना पड़ेगा। तो बहुत सारे पीस टेक्निक्स है और फिर जड़ाव है तो हमें बहुत सारे आर्टिजन्स के साथ में काम करना पड़ता है। आर्टिजन्स को डिजाइन्स भी बतानी पड़ती हैं। आर्टिजन्स कई बार ऐसा होता है कि हम छोटे से इयरिंग से लेके शुरू करें चाहे बड़े से बड़ा नेकलेस हम बना रहे हों, इसके अंदर टाइम का कोई कैलकुलेशन नहीं है। उसको बनाने में मतलब सारे वर्कर की मतलब 8 to 10 जितने भी आर्टिस्ट होंगे सभी का अपने को हेल्प लेना पड़ेगा और हर एक आर्टिजन हैव ए डिफरेंट टाइप ऑफ टैलेंट। मतलब कि यदि इनेमल वाला है तो उसे अपना इतना डीप मतलब वो इतने कलर्स यूज कर सकता है या मतलब इतना कुछ निकाल सकता है कि वो बहुत कुछ क्रिएटिव आ सकता है। इसके अलावा एनग्रेविंग में भी हम फ्लोरल मोटिव्स ज्यादा यूज करते हैं। आजकल इंटरनेशनली इसके अंदर अपने ज्योमेट्रिक पैटर्न्स यूज होने लगे हैं। जैसे आपने देखा होगा एलिस स्लोनी के पूरे मोटिव्स लगभग ज्योमेट्रिक होते हैं। इसके बाद जनरेशन टू जनरेशन ये जाता ही है और सारे ग्रुप्स के अंदर मतलब ऐसा होता है कि यदि दादा ने अपने बेटे को सिखाया, बेटे ने उसके बेटे को सिखाया, तो ये ज्यादा बाहर भी नहीं जा रहा। तो इसके लिमिटेड जो कारीगर है वो भी थोड़े लिमिटेड है। मतलब हर कोई इसको नहीं सीखना चाह रहा है। मतलब सोनी फैमिलीज या मारवाड़ी फैमिलीज में ही ये ज्यादातर हो पा रहा है। दूसरा, इसका जो टाइम कैलकुलेशन है प्रोडक्ट का वो ऐसे होता है कि मतलब एक वर्क को यदि हम कैलकुलेशन करें बेस्ड, यदि हम हमें कोई छोटा सा इयरिंग भी बनाना होगा तो बेस वाला वर्क लेगा 1 से 2 दिन, उसके बाद में एनग्रेविंग वाला लेगा 1 दिन, इसके बाद में अपना इनेमल वाला लेगा। तो मतलब इट विल टेक अप्रॉक्स 15 to 20 days मिनिमम फॉर टू मेक अ इयरिंग बेसिकली। तो टाइम का भी इसका कैलकुलेशन बिकॉज द वर्क इज वेरी डीपली, तो डीपली वर्क की वजह से बहुत समय भी लग जाता है। यदि हम बात करें कि यदि कोई आर्टिस्टिक जैसे समाओ फिगर्स हुआ या कोई बॉक्सेस हुआ तो उसमें हम मतलब मैं समझता हूँ कि वर्कर को तकरीबन 6 महीने तक उस पीस को बनाने में लग जाते हैं। कैन यू ऑल हियर मी?
थोड़ा लाउड करो तो इट विल बी बेटर।
कैन यू ऑल हियर मी?
यस।
ओके, अभी मैं चेंजेस की बात करूं कि हम अभी चेंजेस जड़ाओं में क्या कर रहे हैं। बेसिकली आज तक जो मतलब ये बिकॉज ये मुगल एराज से आया हुआ है तो पहले हम इसको 98% गोल्ड या फिर 24 कैरेट में ही करते थे और इसके इनामल कलर्स जो कि 98% गोल्ड पे होते थे। पहले पचरंगा पूरा का पूरा इनामल हुआ करता था जिसको आज की जनरेशन शायद ही बहुत कम जानती है। तो अभी हम जो कर रहे हैं वो बेसिकली वी आर मेकिंग विद द 9 कैरेट गोल्ड, 14 कैरेट गोल्ड, 18 कैरेट गोल्ड, सभी गोल्ड के साथ कलर ऑफ गोल्ड। व्हाइट गोल्ड पे भी हम इनेमल कर रहे हैं, व्हाइट गोल्ड, येलो गोल्ड, रोज गोल्ड। इसके साथ साथ इनेमल के कलर का हम देखें कि अभी हमें पता है पूजा जी ने कि हम पिंक इनेमल के साथ इसको यूज कर सकते हैं। इधर से कलर्स में जाए तो हम पहले बेसिकली ट्रांसपेरेंट इनेमल ज्यादा इन थे, अभी हम ओपेक्स में आ गए हैं, उनके शेड में आ गए हैं, उनकी पेंटिंग्स पे आ गए हैं, इधर से फोटो इनेमल्स पे आ गए हैं। दूसरा मतलब कि जो कलर है वो ट्रांसपेरेंट होने के साथ साथ इंटरनेशनली कलर्स भी मार्केट में आ गए जो कि जड़ाव के साथ बहुत ही अच्छे तरीके से अप्लाई होने लगे हैं और उसमें जड़ाव के मोटिव्स थोड़े से निकल के आने लगे हैं। हेरिटेज की मैं बात करूं कि तो क्योंकि ये हेरिडिटी है ज्वेलरी, मतलब ये एक लेगेसी से आ रही है बेसिकली, तो इसकी स्टाइलिंग में इतना कन्वर्जन होने लगा है कि मतलब आज एक लड़की को ऑफिस जाना है और उसको सिंपल पोल्की की ज्वेलरी पहननी है तो वी कैन मेक अ सिंपल पोल्की का पेंडेंट और वो रेडी टू वियर के तरीके से बहुत सारे ब्रांड उसको यूज कर रहे हैं। इधर से ब्राइडल्स इसको कवर कर रही है, बहुत ही अलग तरीके से उसको अप्रोच किया जा रहा है। हम जो इसको बेसिकली कर रहे हैं हम इसको बोथ साइड तरीके से भी यूज कर रहे हैं, जैसा अभी आपने प्रेजेंटेशन में उसमें वीडियो में देखा, दोनों तरफ हम जड़ाई कर रहे हैं पीसेस की ताकि उसको सेलेबल बनाया जा सके, ब्राइड को दो तरह की लुक मिल सके। इसके अलावा इसको हम डायमंड्स के साथ, डायमंड सेटिंग के साथ यूज करने लगे हैं। पहले सिर्फ इनामल के साथ कि बैक में हम सिर्फ इनामल करते थे और आज हम बैक के इनामल के साथ में सिर्फ जड़ाई यूज होती थी, लेकिन आज हम जब करने जा रहे हैं इसको तो हम इनामल के साथ साथ रिफ्यूज अप्लाई कर रहे हैं, कटआउट्स यूज कर रहे हैं, ओपन यूज कर रहे हैं जड़ाऊ को बेसिकली। तो बहुत सारे क्राफ्ट इसमें, फिलिग्री है, कटआउट्स है, बहुत सारी चीजों के साथ रिफ्यूज है, उनके साथ हम जड़ाई को यूज करने लगे हैं बेसिकली नए तरीके से। तो इसका मतलब इसमें चेंजेस तो काफी आए ही हैं जड़ाव में और अपॉर्चुनिटीज भी काफी बढ़ी है क्योंकि लिमिट लेस है, मतलब इसका कोई लिमिट नहीं है। हम किसी भी चीज के साथ इसको, यहाँ तक कि मॉक्यूमेगेन इट्स इटालियन प्रोसेस, हम उसके साथ भी आज जड़ाव कर रहे हैं। तो इफ आई विल कम टू ऑन द पीसेस तो यू विल सी दैट यहाँ पे बोथ साइड जड़ाई का एक पीसेस है। इधर से हम इसको कलर स्टोन्स के साथ यूज कर सकते हैं, बोथ साइड को हम दोनों तरफ से इस ईयरिंग को पहन सकते हैं। डिटैचेबल भी है और दो लुक भी है अकॉर्डिंग टू ब्राइड, यदि ग्रीन पहनना हो ग्रीन पहने, रेड पहनना हो रेड पहने। स्टोन्स के साथ है सिंपली जेड्स, रोज क्वार्ट्स और बहुत सारे सेमी प्रीशियस स्टोन्स भी हम यूज करने लगे हैं। इसके बाद इफ आई विल कम ऑन इंटरनेशनल मार्केट्स, तो इंटरनेशनल मार्केट में इफ यू विल सर्च दैट हॉली डायमंड और एलिसिस स्लोनी, तो इनके भी काफी ऐसे पीसेस हैं जो कि सिंगली विद पेंटिंग इनेमल या गुलाबी मीना के साथ में या नॉर्मली इनेमल के साथ में यूज होते हैं, जो कि सिंगल पोल की बड़ी यूज करती हैं और काफी सेलेबल होते हैं मार्केट्स में। और कलर स्टोन के साथ भी हमने काफी कॉम्बिनेशंस किए हैं, टर्क्वाइज के साथ ग्रीन है और बहुत कॉम्बिनेशंस होते हैं जो कि एक प्रेजेंटेशन में डालना इनफ नहीं है मेरे ख्याल से। तो नेक्स्ट वन if we will come on to that product development and markets, यदि मैं मार्केट की बात करूं तो इफ आई विल फोकस ऑन ब्राइड्स, तो ब्राइड्स को आज आप किसी भी ब्राइड्स को ले ले, वो चाहेगी कि जड़ाऊ का उसका एक नेकलेस जरूर होना चाहिए, तो वो ब्राइड्स में यूज होने लगा है, एसेंशियल ऑफिसेज में यूज होने लगा है, जेम स्टोन फोकस्ड हम बनाने लगे हैं। यदि किसी को नवरत्न की रिंग पहननी है तो वो आज नॉर्मली गोल्ड की बनाने की जगह उसे जड़ाऊ में बनाने लगा है, नवरत्न को यूज करने लगा है। इंटरनेशनल मार्केट की मैं बात करूं तो बहुत सारे ब्रांड्स इसमें जाने लगे हैं, बहुत सारे ब्रांड सेल करने लगे हैं इंटरनेशनल मार्केट्स में भी जड़ाऊ को। जैसे अभी मैंने नाम लिया ही था, हॉली है और मतलब सैफ्रॉन आर्ट्स है, क्रिस्टीज है, इनमें भी काफी ऑक्शंस जड़ाऊ के पीसेस का होता है और शुरू से होता हुआ आया है। अब यदि मैं बात करूं कि फ्यूचर ऑफ द जड़ाऊ, तो मुझे समझ लगता है कि फ्यूचर ऑफ जड़ाऊ बहुत ही ज्यादा सेफ है, क्योंकि ये जो प्रोजेक्ट है, ये जो आर्ट है, क्योंकि आर्टिस्ट बहुत है इसमें, मतलब बहुत सारे आर्टिस्ट से मिलके एक जड़ाऊ का प्रोडक्ट रेडी होता है, तो ये मतलब लेगेसी से आ रहा है बेसिकली, एक लेगेसी है। इसका जो क्लाइंटेज है वेरी रिच और क्लासी होने की वजह से उनको ऑथेंटिक लुक हमें डालने पड़ते हैं, फ्रेश स्टाइलिंग यूज करनी पड़ती है। आज पहले नॉर्मली चांद वाली इन हुआ करती थी, राजा महाराजा मुगल से आ रहा है तो चांद वाली हुई या स्टोन पे जड़ाई हुई, ये चलता रहता था। लेकिन आज हम बोल्ड स्टाइलिंग की बात करें, बड़े बड़े कर्न फूल चलते हैं, लॉन्ग इयरिंग, बड़ी पोल्कीज का ईयर स्टड चलने लगेगा। तो लुक, इसकी स्टाइलिंग और लुक अकॉर्डिंग टू ट्रेंड बदलता जा रहा है, अकॉर्डिंग टू टाइम ये चेंज होते जा रहे हैं बेसिकली। और इसको ज्वेलरी को थोड़ा कॉस्ट इफेक्टिव बनाया जा रहा है, बोथ साइड जड़ाई के साथ बनाया जा रहा है ताकि दो लुक एक साथ अचीव कर सकें, कम कॉस्ट में हम पहन सके, क्योंकि पूरा का पूरा गोल्ड यूज हो रहा है तो कॉस्ट इफेक्टिव हमें करना ही होगा ताकि काफी सेलेबल हो और आर्टिस्ट को ज्यादा मौका मिले थोड़ा अपने आप को प्रेजेंट करने का और उसके अकॉर्डिंग काम करने का। तो मेरे ख्याल से इसमें अपॉर्चुनिटीज जड़ाऊ में काफी है, क्योंकि कई वर्कर्स के होते हुए निकलता है और मतलब इसको हम और भी बहुत कहीं आगे ले जा सकते हैं। मेरे हिसाब से इनफ है। और इसके अलावा मैं आपको बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद बोलूंगा जो आपने मुझे समय दिया।
Thank you, Vishnu. That was very inspiring and that was very informative of what Jadao is. We are going to a little later discuss about the future
Yeah,
and
sure.
expand it. I would now request Shirin to please tell us about the craft that she works at. Shirin,
My screen is shared, so can you see?
yes, we can see it, Shirin. Please go ahead.
Okay, okay. So hi everyone, I'm Shireen Amin. This is my label Shireen's Creation. I started my brand, it's been my more than 2-3 years now. Like very coincidentally, I got started with this thing. So being from born and bought from Odisha, I was always willing to support Indian artisans. And you can see this art is very fine and very minute work. You can say it's very fine wire, very delicate wire. They used to create very beautiful artistic articles. So here I'll show you what the process what we used to go through and how we get manufacture these pieces. So basically, I'm trying to reviving this kind of art. So in my past work life, I had the privilege of working with national and international brands and designers, so with many designers and artisans. So during that period, I came across different arts and crafts, which is highly rich in history of gem and jewelry. But unfortunately, there is so much things which is so many arts which is like dying right now, and not much in practice these days. Being born and brought up from Odisha, that aura of its past grace and elegance, which fascinated me to support and revive the art of Tarakashi. So my journey going forward is to pursue this in my life, and for that I found my level Shireen's Creation in 2017 in Shenzhen, China. So I would like to describe little bit about the crafts. So Tarakashi is like involves a number of steps. So when artisans who are mostly they are like goldsmiths, so we used to call them Rupa Karigar in the local language, and they mostly use 90% alloy, 90 to 80% alloy. So what they do, a lump of silver is placed on a small clay pot over a bucket full of charcoal. Then they operated a blower, which is regulate the temperature, and it takes about 10 minutes to melt that metal. Then the molten metal silver they poured into a rod shape. It's also a handcrafted machine. So they draw those wire by hand. Further, they used to cool it down. Then they create number of after pulling from the machine, they create thin silver wires, which they carved into number of intricate designs. So first, they used to draw something in a paper, like any kind of designs, whether it's a peacock or whether it's a flower, any kind of designs. Then they make a border actually. First, they used to create the broad border, outline borders. Then after that, they used to fill that intricate design inside that borders to give that complete look. So there is like 90 types of designs you can say they used to create in spirals, in curls, in creepers, jollies. So like there is different kinds of designs they used to create by those three wires. So I would like to show a video first how that is going to do. Just a second. So I would like to thank this video for Renu Chaudhary, who helped me for this beautiful video, a blogger.
Please start your video.
It's started, no? You can't see?
No, your PPT is still on. It's not.
Let me do one thing. Is it now?
No. Maybe what you can do is stop sharing and then start sharing again with the video.
Okay. Is it shared now?
Yeah. Yeah, it is sharing now. Yeah, we can see it now.
That is a small video. I'll back to my PPT again. Is it shared?
No, again, do the same thing you did before. Stop sharing and then share with your PPT.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
So you have seen, so, after that experience, then my experience working with my artisans are like, they used to make only 60 to 75% silver alloy. Because those are the things they used to make for, if you heard about the Durga Puja, they used to make big articles for those Dashera things. So they're used to do big articles like larger than life kind of stuff. Like big mukut and big haram and big, like anything is bigger than that. Like, so it's like, so that's why they used to use that 60 to 75% of alloy. That is my main issue actually. When that's my challenge actually. The craft endangered due to number of factors such as competition from Kolkata also, which produces coarse but affordable silver filigree items. Then lack of interest among the new generation because of its labor intensive and cost effective. Very few experienced artisans are left, and the increase in the cost of raw material, poor returns to the artisans, and absence of community-based leadership. And what I did change to this challenges. Initially, I tried to give business to the artisans by buying their ready goods. Actually, so whatever they are making it, so I am supporting them and I am trying to give them business like that. By then, I started doing customizations by adding gemstones. So being in a Jaipur, so I'm privileged to have the colors of gemstones. We can say the pink city of Jaipur. The initiated collaboration. Then after that, I have collaborated with the artisans, with the urban designer, and the brands all over India, like 2-3 people from Jaipur itself also. Then I created a team which creates a platform where the human creativity reaches excellence and works under certain parameters to make it more commercially sustainable. I make sure the purity of metal show the 9 to 5, which to maintain the international standard. Then I promoted into social media. So I started an e-commerce site also, the name of shirinscreation.com. Then I've participated in domestic and international exhibition to promote this beautiful art. So this is the process what I have done for this thing. My product development and markets are like being settled in Jaipur. I am fortunate to be the part of gem and jewelry world. So it's easy to procure any gemstones and quality of artisanal work. Case here is very tremendously expensive. So I am trying to mix up 2 states, east and west. So Odisha and Jaipur art together, like it's a fusion of 2 states to create unprecedented elegance blended with the finest filigree. So I would like to show. Then this art got more appreciation in the US and UK market. It's sad that people in India it's not appreciating this kind of art. Though I'm actively approaching domestically and looking forward to have an international collaboration. My future for of this craft is like we can make it more commercially acceptable under the parameters of authenticity, sustainability, practicality, utility, desirability, and a fair trade practice. We shall create a platform where contemporary design is created and the authenticity of this art and craft is incorporated into the product. We'll be mindful of production process which incorporates with the sustainability and the fair trade practice. We used to create a platform where the human creativity reaches excellence and works under certain parameters to make it more commercially sustainable. I'd like to show some of the crafts here. So this is, you can see the east and west, what I have said, the fusion collaboration inspired from the Mughal era. You can see the marbles which are from Agra, and but it's inlaid in Jaipur itself. So an elegant marble inlaid with semi-precious, these are all semi-precious stones in floral patterns. And it's, you can see the delicacy of designs and the beautifully handcrafted. Both the inlay and everything is completely handcrafted. This is another, so how we are socially promoting our products. This currently we got that racism issues, so Black Lives Matter. As per Nelson Mandela, no one is born hating another person because of the color of his skin or his background or his religion. People must learn to hate, and if they can learn to hate, they can be taught to love us. So this is his golden words, and you can see the products also how we beautifully portrayed. This is another social campaign for World Environment Day. Save elephant, save world. So maybe it's animalness that will make the world right again. The wisdom of elephants, the enthusiasm of canyons, the grace of snakes, the mildness of ancestors. Perhaps being human needs some duality. So, so you can see the crafts is like, it's not. It's like beyond any imagination. Whatever you imagine, you can create with this kind of crafts. So I'll show you some of the products, which is some, these are Jamuna, we used to call it Ganga Jamuna, because it's a silver and gold plated thing. So we have started gems. You can see there is mother of pearl, there's rose quartz, amethyst, black onyx. So here, and we do live articles also, especially in my brands. We used to sell more purses, which is like best sellable item for me. These are some kind of brooches. Some basic jewelry items, pendant sets, earrings. So I'll finish my presentation by saying, मंजिल आगे बढ़कर मंजिल तलाश कर, मिल जाए तुझको दरिया तो समंदर तलाश कर. So we must be the challenge we wish to see in the world. So that's from my side. Over to Hemanji.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Shirin. That was very interesting and some amazing product that you have shown us there, and amazing social media promotions that you are doing.
Yeah, actually,
sharing your screen.
Yeah, actually, these designs are very basic. So what I wanted to do is, to make it more commercially affordable, and commercially people should, encourage this kind of product to take. That's my thing. So I'll stop my sharing actually.
Yes, please. Thank you, Shirin.
Yeah.
Okay, now, of course, I'm going to save the best for the last. So before I give you the best, I am going to now take a little time off and talk to you about what I do. So I run a company called Allcraftist, as some of you all know. And I do a lot of work with different crafts. I started this business about 10 years back. And it happened only because I was at an event, and I learned that there are a lot of Indian crafts that are actually dying because people are not supporting them. And that's when we took a call saying that, okay, let us do something. And we started with the Dokra craft. The experience has been amazing. The journey has been fantastic, and what we learned has been mind-blowing. But before I go any further, let me warn all of you, it takes time. As Pooja said, it took her 1 year to make 21 pieces. Even today, and I'm working with 3 crafts today, I'm working on the 4th and 5th craft. It takes us at least 1 year before we can have a collection which is ready to go to market. So you have to be patient. Now, what is reviving all about? I'm not going to talk only about the craft. I'm going to talk about this procedure, because I believe that at the end of this show, I want people to take this challenge and work with different crafts to promote it. Trust me, there are tremendous advantages in doing so. And the biggest advantage is going to be that when you're working with a traditional Indian craft, there is no other country that is going to compete with you. They are not going to be people who are going to come and give that craft cheaper with the same values that you would do with a traditional Indian craft. This is something that's very important. So what is reviving all about? Reviving is about first taking inspiration from the past. And then to do that, you need to leverage the traditional crafts that are already in existence. You need to start going through an innovation process, because the craft as existing and the product as existing is not always something that the consumer today wants. So you need to innovate, but you need to innovate making sure that the crafts are not being destroyed. And you need to go through a process of modernization. And of course, at the end of the day, what all of us want is to take it global. And there are many examples I can give you of how crafts have, or Indian arts have gone global. The biggest, of course, is yoga, and I don't even need to talk about it, but that's the way it is. So to create future products, I am saying that we look into the crafts, and we have been doing that very, very seriously. And we leverage the traditional arts and crafts for a new tomorrow. So what is handicraft? Actually, handicraft is the original technology. It is hand tech. Every other technology that you see today is only a result of the original technology, which is hand tech. No matter what robo you make, there is a hand required to initiate the process. Otherwise, you're not going to get a robo. And it is born out of man's need to create with mind and body both. And that is why handicraft is something that is really, really emotional. It always has an emotion attached to it. And it is of an ancient origin and rich in and diverse in cultures. You will find different crafts in different geographical areas. And those areas thrive on a local ecosystem. And that is why that craft is not always possible in some other place. And even if it goes to some other place, that local culture makes a difference in the styling of the product, in what kind of product they make. So heritage is rich and diverse because it is all based on different geographic nuances. And it has traditional beauty, it has dignity, it has superb form, style, and aesthetics. Anytime you see one of these pieces, you are going to stop and say, oh, wow, is that really something that can be made? And the versatility of use of material and the product form, as I just mentioned, it depends on region to region. So this is what handicraft is all about. I had prepared some videos on how to show you the process, but I'm going to skip to that because we have a challenge of time. But working with handicrafts, there are various challenges also. The first thing is it's a very local trade. Each handicraft is working in some small geographical area or a cluster, or, you know, it is very regional and local. And these people do not have knowledge of exports. And over here, I'm not only talking of exports in the international sense. For them, even to sell something from a place in Raipur where they make the Dokra craft and bring it to Bombay, they don't know the taste of Bombay. And for them, Bombay itself is also really an export. They do not understand global needs as far as design and quality, especially quality, is concerned. They are all fragmented regional tribes, which is always a challenge. It's all labor intensive, as Shirin already mentioned. It's a cottage industry. It is not organized in any way whatsoever. And actually, unfortunately, my experience has been that in some places where the government has tried to organize things, it hasn't really gone very well for the craft, in the sense that the craftsmen are still underpaid, overworked, and they don't get enough at the end of the day. And they use very simple old school tools. Now, these are some of the challenges, and most of these challenges can be addressed today without compromising the integrity of that craft. And that is what is very important. So when you want to do something like this, when you want to take up a craft and make sure that you're going to do something worthwhile with it, what are the steps that you would need to take? The first is to pinpoint the potentials. There are so many crafts that you can work with. You need to pinpoint the potentials with the product that you have in mind. And then once you have done that, you study the suitability of each of those potentials. Then you start developing designs which you think that you will be able to sell and promote today. Okay. And then you have to test, because I'll give you my example from Dokra. The first time when we went to Dokra, we worked with Dokra in a small village called Kondagaon, which even till about 3 years back did not even have electricity. Okay. And when we went and told them that we want to make this kind of stuff, the designs that we had, the immediate reaction was, nahi ho sakta. You know, somehow human nature is always, oh no, this is not something that can be done. And we literally used to stay with them in that village, in their houses for weeks to get some of those pieces made by training them to use their craft, but in a little different manner. Okay, so you need to test and train them. It's not something that's going to happen automatically. You have to modernize the mechanics. Let me give you an example. As I said, till 3 years back, there was no electricity in the village of Kondagaon. And Dokra craft is a craft that is done by the lost wax casting process. Yes, what we use in our modern factories today. Okay, now they used to create an oven, so to say, in the ground, and a furnace also. At that time, they used to use a cardboard to fan the fire so that it fires off faster. Now, what we have done over the last 8 years of working with them is that we first got them a bellow. Okay, so they would pump it by the hand and fire the oven. And then we realized that they used to get tired with the hand. So what we did and what they use currently is that we got them a normal bicycle, which they already had. We made an attachment for it so that when the rear wheel is put on the U-shaped stand, the bicycle will not move, but the rear wheel will power. And with that gadget, the rear wheel would then run the bellow. We are still not using electricity. Our product is green. Wax that they use is beeswax. The investment powder that they use is a local sand that is available there. It is completely a green product. No chemical-based product, no electricity being used. And even today, after 3 years of electricity, we still manufacture all of our Dokra without using electricity. We modernize the mechanics without in any way compromising the way that craft used to function. Product precision is a given. We need to all do that. You need to create collections. You need to monitor manufacturing. And this is required for a really long period of time. Like our Bidri, we still monitor. Our Dokra, we still monitor even after 8 years. Because every time a new design comes and there is a slight change in the process, those people need to be monitored to make sure that they live up to your QC standards. And you need to relentlessly refine. Every single day, you need to make sure you are getting better and better. You need to check the retail reaction. What is your consumer saying about your product? And at the end of the day, don't deliberate. As Nike has very well said it, just do it. You need to just get in there and start the process. These are some of the designs that we made, the initial designs that we made for Dokra. And as you can clearly see, Dokra originally only used to make statues of gods and goddesses predominantly. And this is what we have gone and done with it. Look at the product. What a traditional necklace used to look like and what we have done with it below, we have modernized it for the younger generation. In the same way, the figures that were used, how they were being used before, and how we have started using the same figure, but using the studdings, and how earrings that were there before, and what kind of earrings we have created. So you can clearly see that we have made the product using the same techniques for something that a person can use today. This is what we did with Bidri. The bangles were available. We made bracelets and necklaces out of it. The earrings, the kind that were available and what we have done with it. And the pendant, what we have done with it. So this is what I mean by modernizing it and by making the product something that today's generation would really love to wear and flaunt. This is what we do with Tarakashi. These are the earrings, the drop earrings. We also make drop earrings, but with a little difference. We plate it black, we plate it pink to give a very different and distinctive look. So that's what we do. Okay, this is some of our collections in Dokra, as you can see. And something I'd like to point out here, if you will look at the bracelet in the right-hand side with the blue stones, you can see a little of the back. Every single product of ours is as beautiful from behind as it is from the front. This is fashion jewelry. It is all made using silver, cubic zirconia, and synthetic stones. But the quality and the finish that we give is truly international. And that is probably what has made us successful in the international markets. Now, this is one video I want to show you. It's a very short video, but the reason why I want to show it to you is that when you are working with crafts, you need to innovate.
At the factory, they try to maintain the basic form of the Dokra piece, but reduce the weight to make it wearable as a jewelry piece. A master mold of the gold and diamond part of it is prepared in silver and then sent for casting. A silver masterpiece of the final design is sent for casting and filing. The Dokra and gold elements are placed together to get a feel for the final piece.
See, this is what I want you to see. When brass and gold are soldered together, refining gold becomes a challenging task. And therefore, look at the way that we created the fitting mechanism for every single product. Oops, sorry.
The gold part is then sent for diamond setting and polishing. The final piece is ready for quality control and is then sent off to the real world for some pretty lady to wear.
So the reason why I wanted to show you that small clip was that instead of soldering, we followed the nut and bolt system, and gold and brass were never soldered together, but were always joined using nuts and bolts. Okay, thank you. I hope you found this interesting and useful. Anybody who wants to venture into a craft and wants more information, more advice, more guidance, do reach out to me and I'd be more than willing to share some knowledge with you. Thank you very much. Okay, now I am going to come to the highlight of today's program. I have been a fan of Rupa's for so many years. And as I said in the beginning, she is actually the pioneer in using Indian crafts in the jewelry space and taking them global. She today is a globally recognized brand, and anybody talks of craft and jewelry, it is Rupa who first comes to mind. I would request Rupa to please tell us, share her experiences and tell us about how she has ventured into this space of jewelry and how she has found it fulfilling and what are the challenges that she faced and how she addressed them. Over to you, Rupa.
Thank you for having me here, Hemant bhai. It's nice to be on the same platform as so many other talented people. I've been listening to all the stories. I've been here all along. It's interesting to see how everybody's journey is somewhat similar, but still different from each other. I'm particularly intrigued with Vishnu's work because that's typically an old art form, which I think I'd worked with in, I think about 2005 to 7. We'd done a whole lot of the Meenakari work at one point. And it still continues to interest me. But coming back to the topic of reviving art forms, I think it's a very personal journey for everybody. And for me, mine was a very, very personal journey. It's something that I fell in love with and continue to be. It's been over 25, almost 30 years since I first came across the first piece of Thewa. And that's where my journey started. And I guess like all things that you fall in love with, there's a commitment that follows. So whether it's hard times, whether it's difficult times, whether it means you're giving more than you're receiving, that stayed part of the process. And I think I did not waver from that at any point of time. And as we go along, there were other art forms that caught my interest and felt that they required the attention, which probably with the experience that I had gathered and garnered, I was able to deliver to those art forms as well as we went along, so that some level of benefit could be delivered to those art forms, and I continue to do so. I mean, I can go on and waxing eloquent about everything, but I think the story of my journey is pretty much out there for everybody. But what I'd like to do is be here for anyone who has questions, and be able to share any information that I have that can help anybody else's journey along the way. So I think it'll be more interesting if we open up for having a conversation amongst us, amongst the people who are participating, and take it from there.
Sure. Thank you so much, Rupa. It was, as I said, I have been a fan of yours for a long time, and I've been admired everything. Yes, Pooja, go ahead. You're saying something?
Yeah, ma'am.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay. Now, my first question is going to be, Rupa, to you. Is that people like us who have been delving in this crafts and who have been trying to get internationally accepted, what are the 2 or 3 key things that you would advise us to look into and to make sure that we do when we are manufacturing any of our products using these crafts?
So I think, Hemant, my first pointer over here will be, before you jump overseas, how acceptable are you, and what is the width, length, breadth of your acceptability within the country? Today, we talk about India being the biggest market or potentially the biggest market. How far deep is your product acceptable by the Indian mindset? We are very, very varied, from the north to the south to the east to the west. There's different people, there are different age groups, different economic background. So your product, first, I think this is probably your biggest tester. And if you think you have created a certain level of depth for your product within the country, then you can start exploring internationally. And coming specifically to your question, what I would say is, for the international market, we in India, we lack quality as compared to what we see in products overseas. So that is a huge area of potential that we must have. And the other one I would say is, your styles have to be contemporary. You have to, like I said again, that the testing would be, again, if somebody from Delhi buying the same product, and is somebody buying in Calcutta buying the same product, or did you have to tweak the product? So once you're able to do all that within the country, will you be able to have an understanding of what overseas requires from you?
Okay, thank you. I'd like to ask a question to Pooja. Pooja, when you started delving in the craft of Gulabi Meenakari, what were the challenges that you faced as far as getting the quality, which Rupa just mentioned, to the level that you wanted and which would be acceptable to the best of people?
So my initial challenges were that the setting of the pieces, the setting of diamonds was very difficult because the karigars could not make the perfect prongs for setting. So during my process, I understood that I would have to only get the center pieces made from them and have a separate team who is going to make the prongs and do the setting. So it was a very elaborate process. Initially, I did make few mistakes. Some of the pieces, the lines were going zigzag and it was not perfect and I had to redo them. But finally, when I understood, today I'm ready and I know how am I going to work with them. they understand my process now and they know what I need. The
So-
same thing in rest of the work, I get it done from my regular Bengali karigars, whom I'm working with for past 16 years now.
Oh, okay.
So it's a combination which is now, I
So-
think, falling in place for me.
So the testing and training has gone through and now you're stabilized. Okay. Shirin, I would like to ask you a question, something that I also discussed with you a few days back, is that when you work with these artisans, are you working directly with the artisans or do you have challenges in working directly, and do you have to go through other people, other middlemen or people who manage clusters? Shirin, are you there? Hello, Shirin?
She can unmute herself. She's a co-host. Actually, if you unmute yourself, it's better.
Hello.
Yeah, Shirin.
Audible now?
Yeah. Did you hear my question, Shirin? Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you hear my question?
Yeah, I heard your question. So it's like I do in the both things actually. Being in a Jaipur, it's difficult to go now and then to Cuttack. It's very hard for me. So people, my karigar, they used to come to Jaipur also. So there is like both way we used to communicate together. So there is like five people, like five karigar who's extremely talented and very old actually. People who's like very experienced with gold designs, not in silver. But those people are very less and they take very, it's very time consuming. As you know, the Tarakashi, it's not like fast production things. So and getting done from that silver thing from the gold people, it's very hard actually, and they don't entertain actually. So people are like, they used to, of course they used to see the money where it coming easily, or they when it comes to gold, so it's very easy to get good orders or good money for them, to give good labor for them. But when it comes to silver, so it's, if it's not mass production, so it's very hard for them to get it manufactured. So making sample line, it's they don't entertain generally, because as you know, I told you before also, they are usually they are very much what you say, um, the word I'm not getting. so, so they used to make big, larger than life pieces.
Yeah.
I told you. So that's
Sorry, I'm not
that's that's more into 60% or 70% alloy jewelry.
Right.
So it's not 9 to 5.
Yeah.
So when it comes to 9 to 5 jewelry, so it's very hard for them, and it's very small pieces. So the thing they are doing it, it's very challenging for them. And for bigger articles, it's like they can work for, they get laborers for 4 to 5 kg of orders in one single time. But for my articles like things, so it will like 200 grams or 500 grams in silver. So they are not getting, that if I'm doing any kind of sample
Motivation is
line.
less.
Yeah, so it's very laborious thing, and they don't entertain specially. And as you know, the new generation is not willing to work on this kind of thing.
Oh, yeah.
They
I've had
are,
experiences with that myself.
yeah, they are more into, they, in fact they have been switched to other cities like Bangalore or Chennai or other cities like that.
So, Vishnu, sorry, Vishnu, I have a question for you.
Yes, please.
What are the improvements you have initiated in the craft without compromising the integrity of the craft, which have paid you rich dividends?
Sorry, pardon, please.
What are the changes or improvements in the process that you have trained your artisans, which has improved the quality, which has improved the productivity, but not compromised on the craft in any way?
Yeah. So I would like to tell you that the craft is divided into 4 to 5 processes. So the every worker has a different quality, and different type of artisans make a. If I would like to talk about engraver, so in a starting engraver always puts a simple floral things, floral motifs. But now, if I think according to the internationally, I have to put some geometry things. So what I have to do is I have to draw some geometry things on the product. Then a worker apply engraving tools on that elements. So these are lots of the difficulties coming. So we sort out all the things. If I come on the foil, silver foils, in the previous lots of the companies and lots of the brands using a silver foil, but they doesn't know if we mix some quantity of gold into that silver foil, that it will never goes black onto that product according to the time. And if they put some aluminum foil basically under to the stone, under to the silver, under to the pole key, then it never goes black. So there is lots of the difficulties comes, and we sort out according to the market.
Thank you. Okay, I think we're probably running out of time. Ashok Bhai, I would ask you to take over, and any audience questions that need to be addressed, all of us would be more than happy to.
So I think is
Raji is asking something.
I had a question.
Yes, sure.
Please, please.
Vishnu, can you tell me if you've involved women in your product production?
You're asking, whom are you?
Vishnu.
Vishnu.
Yes, please. Pardon, please.
I said, have you involved women? Your women,
Yeah.
have they been involved in, have you trained any women in the product production?
Yes, of course I can.
You can, but
I have approx 5 members in my design team. There are total Niftians.
I'm not talking about the design team. I'm talking about the process.
Production में I will tell you some of women's always does jadai work. They does by hand only. They fill kundan by hand only. Lots of the women does enamel also by hand, or they are doing very well. One of my friends, or my known friends, she's doing a pink enamel, basically painting enamel by hand, because she is an artist of BFA, basically fine art student, and she applies a very good motif on that gold sheets. So lots of women are doing basically.
You're not talking about an Indian, right? BFA, you're saying, is not an Indian person you're talking about.
No, I'm talking about the Indian women basically.
Interesting. That was a very interesting part.
In Varanasi, I would like to update you. There is a group of women who are being trained in the art of Gulabi Meenakari. I visited them last time, and this new collection, we are giving them few pieces to manufacture. Obviously, they are new karigars, they're new women. They won't be able to give the finishes of the trained artisans, but we are definitely working with them. And I'm very committed to also promoting women empowerment. I think as women should do it, and everybody should support. I really appreciate you raising that point.
Yeah, actually in Tarakashi also. So previously most of the workers are ladies only. So now they stopped doing all these things. So there is no ladies workers currently. There is only gents workers who's doing this art.
So it's the other way around in Gulabi Meenakari.
Yeah.
We are training women now.
It's completely changed now. Previously, all the artisans, like it's a 500 years old art. So people used to work from home, and they used to do, all the ladies actually do the fine arts, because they are delicate. All the delicate thing is good for the ladies. So they used to do only the fine art initially, the intricate art done by ladies only. So now the things are completely changed here in Cuttack.
Back to Ashok Bhai.
I think for me everything was absolutely new. The whole various arts that you spoke about, the kind of work. I've seen Theva work for the first time. in the year 2000, Rupa, with you, and it was absolutely fascinating. And
I think that was
I thought
98,
that there's somebody.
when we first met, 98.
Sorry,
I said when we first met, 98.
98. Yeah. So, and I remember that a lot. It was so well appreciated by people, and people believed and understood in that product, and that was the real eye opener for an entire industry, that your old crafts and your old arts and your old skills, if you can put them in the right use, in the right way, in the right
Presentation.
format, the consumer is going to run after it, and actually, and I think you have gone a long way, Rupa, from there uh, to so many different kinds of arts. I think practically you have dipped your fingers in every kind of art
Yeah.
possibly available,
Same
from
degree.
the
I was going to tell him.
kind of jewelry that you are making, and you have now got into absolutely fine jewelry, high-end stuff, and I think that is also another world of its own kind, and it opens every time you look back, you can open up an entire door to a new world at every single time.
True, true.
We have one question which is appearing all the time, is that why the dank of the kundan work which is there turns black all the time, and there is a reply from Mr. Mohanlal ji of Hyderabad, who explains that the the डाक which is prepared in हैदराबाद, जो हैदराबाद में डाक बनती है निज़ामों के समय से, वो डाक कभी काली नहीं पड़ती। तो उनकी एक टेक्निकलिटी है, उनके उनके पास एक कला है, उनके पास एक आर्ट है। तो I think this is there is a lot of things that a lot of Hyderabad has got this art. It does a lot of jadai work, you know that, और उनकी एक कलाकारी की भी मास्टरी है, जैसे हमारे राजस्थान और जयपुर की है। वैसे तो आपको अगर डाक कभी खरीदनी है तो आप हैदराबाद से मंगवाइए। मैं आपको
पर मुझे अशोक भाई अभी जयपुर में बनने लगे हैं, जयपुर में भी उस डाक को यूज करने लगे हैं, बहुत सारे कारीगर उसमें ट्रेंड हो गए हैं। वी आर आल्सो यूजिंग दैट सेम डाक। और बेसिकली द जड़ाव थिंग इनमें क्या होता है, व्हाट हैपन, एक समय के साथ ये काला पड़ने लगता है, तो इसमें थोड़ा गोल्ड डालें हम तो वो कभी काला नहीं पड़ेगा। सेकंड, आप एल्यूमिनियम फॉइल यूज करिए रेदर देन सिल्वर, तो लॉन्ग लाइफ चलेगा। थर्ड चीज, इसको थोड़ा ह्यूमिडिटी से और इससे हमें बचा के रखना पड़ेगा ज्वेलरी को। फोर्थ थिंग, जब हम इसकी पैकेजिंग करते हैं तो डोंट पुट इनटू दैट ये जो वेलवेट है या जो भी अदर पैकेजिंग है इसमें ना रखते हो, जस्ट कीप इट इनटू दैट प्लास्टिक फॉइल्स, उसमें पहले पैक करें, आफ्टर देन पैक इट इनटू दैट वेलवेट एंड अदर थिंग्स।
विष्णु जी, आर यू सेइंग दैट अगर उसके अंदर गोल्ड अपन ज्यादा डालते हैं तो गोल्ड डालने से वो काला नहीं पड़ता, और अगर वो खाली
I will not tell you कि गोल्ड अपन इसमें ज्यादा डालेंगे। It's basically a process. यदि if you are taking 100 gram of silver, then you just have to put only 200 milligram of gold. If you are making with the gold foil, then it will cover the yellow sapphire. यदि आपको yellow sapphire की qualities अच्छी बनानी है तो you have to put a gold foil under the blue sapphire, yellow sapphire. If you are enhance the beauty of rubies, then you have to put a copper foil under the ruby. तो उनकी ब्यूटीज, मतलब हर एक स्टोन्स का अपना एक अलग फॉइल से पैक करने का प्रोसेस है, तो इट इज अ वेरी लॉन्ग प्रोसेस बेसिकली।
सो ये सब जो प्रोसेसेस है विष्णु जी, ये आपके जयपुर के अंदर सबको पता है कि किसी कुछ ही लोगों को पता है किस तरीके से?
ये कुछ ही तरह के प्रोसेस कुछ ही लोगों को पता है। अभी मैं आपको बताना चाहूंगा, आज से 20 साल पहले 30 साल पहले जब अपने मुगल्स जब आ रहे, मुगल्स से जब ये प्रोडक्शन चलता आ रहा है, तब आज से 10 साल पहले तक की मैं बात करूं तो जड़ाऊ ओनली इट विल हैपेंस ऑन 98% ऑफ प्योरिटी ऑफ गोल्ड। उसमें हम देसी मीना करते थे। देसी मीना ऑलवेज हैपेंड ऑन 98% बिकॉज गोल्ड का प्योरिटी हीटिंग पॉइंट है 1164, जबकि देसी मीने का लगभग 1065 बेसिकली देसी मीने का। लेकिन अभी जो हम यूज कर रहे हैं वो होता है अपना विलायती मीना, जो कि 400 डिग्री या 500 डिग्री पे ही पूरा मेल्ट होने लगता है, तो हम उसको 9 कैरेट, 14 कैरेट, 18 कैरेट किसी भी ज्वेलरी पे अप्लाई करने लगे हैं, क्योंकि अकॉर्डिंग टू द ट्रेंड, अकॉर्डिंग टू द मार्केट, हमें उसका प्राइस पॉइंट कम करना पड़ेगा ज्वेलरी का, और कम करने के लिए हमें प्योरिटी ऑफ गोल्ड घटानी पड़ेगी, और प्योरिटी घटाने की वजह से ही हम उसका अच्छा एक मतलब प्रोडक्ट को कम रेंज में रेडी कर पाएंगे। लेकिन जो हम फिल करेंगे कुंदन, वो हमेशा 24 कैरेट गोल्ड होगा।
Rupa, you have to say something.
Yeah, I have a question. We constantly have this narrative which keeps coming up about making jewelry cost-effective. I think somewhere we've forgotten that jewelry is an opulence, and you know, जब हम किसी भी आर्ट फॉर्म को लेके उसको ज्यादा कॉस्ट इफेक्टिव करना शुरू करते हैं, we are actually pedestrian, you know, it's getting a little devalued. You know, we should not constantly keep trying to make things cost effective. If a thing needs, it's a thing of beauty. If you need, if you need a certain kind of inputs to create that piece of somewhere, I think our markets need to be educated, and I think we as people in educate people that there is workmanship. जैसे आपने जैसे कहा था कि you know कितने कितने हफ्ते लग जाते हैं, कुछ महीने लगते हैं. All art form, it takes days, weeks, and months to put pieces together. There is a value to pieces. Try to be, you know, always create the narrative of cost effectiveness.
Somehow लगता है it's all dependent on to that market. यदि हम if we are a B2B brands, then lots of the brands need a box, तो उसमें time लगेगा, and lots of the brands, जैसे कि मैं छोटे मतलब retail brands की बात करूँ, तो they need a necklace in a 1 lakh. तो what we have to do, तो हमें उसी के according सोचना पड़ेगा. If you need a जैसे if you need article like elephant, तो we take approx 4 years to complete a single elephant in a 2 foot or 1 foot piece. It's depend on market to market also.
I think the whole
but I think what
is very related to the reality of art. I remember there are one person told me that 2 people had gone to an art gallery to look at an art exhibition. One guy was only focusing on the window, and the other guy was only focusing at the price at which the painting was sold. When they both finished and they came outside, he said all the paintings are very expensive, but the other guy said some of the paintings were so fantastic you cannot imagine. He said, but I actually forgot to see the paintings. मैं उसका दाम ही देखते रह गया. और दूसरा व्यक्ति कहता है दाम से मुझे पता ही नहीं क्या है, लेकिन कारीगरी कुछ की देखी तो मेरा तो तबीयत खुश हो गई मेरी. तो I think नजरिए की बात है.
Yes, of course.
So it actually depends on how you communicate.
नजर बदलने की जरूरत है. But a commercial person will always trying to bring out something in a commercial way, and कलाकारी और commercial दो चीज को एक साथ में parallel.
Commercial के लिए there is other products, right? And why should we kill our arts in the name of commercialization?
Done. Absolutely true.
Absolutely.
So okay, I think Hemant bhai, up to you, sir. If you are okay, then we can do the closing.
Sure. Before you do the closing, analysts, thank you, Rupa. Appreciate it. Thank you, Vishnu, and thank you, Pooja, for joining us today. It was great talking to you guys. Thank you, Ashok bhai. Please take over.
Thank you. Yeah, Sayam, if you can do the vote of thanks.
Yes. Thank you everybody. Thank you, Pooja. Pooja told us today that how Make in India is an immense opportunity. How the Gulabi Meenakari is happening now. People are going to. She's from Delhi and also knows a lot of karigars in Surat. But still, after knowing all of this, also she's gone to Banaras, where she has taken all the karigars, made them understand what is the way they can improve themselves in order to make the jewelry which is required at this moment from those karigars, which is a difficult job, and going to be the sarees and the other things are also made in Banaras, and jewelry is now known to a few of us now that kind of Meenakari can also be done in Banaras, and a new line of jewelry which is being made, a quality jewelry. A lot of karigari is required and a lot of time is required to make, and I think We thank Pooja here that she's opened the mind of a lot of wholesalers and manufacturers how to make different kind of jewelry now. Uh, Thanking Vishnu ji, who has told us about Jadao jewelry and how the jewelry, it takes about 10 to 15 days to make the jewelry, 24 karat foil which has been used, and there is only a set of karigars from the Dada time to the father time to the son side. There are only keeping it to a few of them who are making it in Jaipur, and I think now the more and the more people are getting educated to do this kind of karigari. First, it was being made in 98% of gold, and now it is being made in 14 karat and 18 karat also because of cost effectiveness. Pearl jewelry, Gulabi Minakari, colored stones, a lot of designs which were shown by Vishnuji. There is Christie's also, which is selling which is selling and or auctioning Jadao jewelry. So the Indian jewelry also is being auctioned in the foreign markets, and it is a legacy which the whole India is looking up to in Jaipur, because we are not looking at machine-made jewelry. We're looking at handmade jewelry, which takes a lot of time to make. So I think it is another insight, and I think all the retailers and all the married women or the women who are going to get married look at the Jadao jewelry to wear in their weddings also, because of the lot of artwork which is being made into it. So thank you, Vishnuji, for opening our insight. Shireen, thank you for showing us the Tarakashi designs which are being made in silver, 90 types of wires which are being used, the spirals, the curls and other things used to make this. Excellent videos which were shown by you, the filtering frame, the soldering and assembling, the cleaning part, 95% of the melting you're using into it, international collaboration you're looking into right now, mindful of all the designers, making the jewelry which is very commercially viable, semi-precious stones which can be used into it. So I think wholesalers and manufacturers listening to you will be realizing that the normal commercial type of jewelry which we are making, what things can be added, what things can be done to change themselves in order to get a better wastage, to get a better understanding, and the customers who are regularly coming inside our stores, every time they should get something new. I think Shireen here put a light into it. There was an excellent thing that in the US right now, which has happened, the social issues which are there, the kind of jewelry that you are making, the elephant jewelry which you are making, according to the Indian social problems which are coming, the Ganga Jamuna jewelry which is there, which is being made with black onyx. We must, and there is the last thing which you have said, that we must be the change that we wish to see in the world. So there is excellent. Thank you to you, Shireen, that you have opened the minds of the people who have been sitting here. I would like to come to Rupa also, who has told us that it is not directly to go to the international markets. First, we have to see ourselves that where will our jewelry be working in India, in the different states, and after that bring the changes in the kind of jewelry and then go to the international markets. So thank you, Rupa. Our very own Hemant Bhai, he has been our very own Hemant Bhai. He has been always been joined with us. He has shown us the traditional Indian craft, which is there is no competition of our Indian art in the world, because the handmade jewelry which is being made in India, it is impossible to make in the outside countries. Hand tech is the original technology. Is an excellent word, Himanji, which you have told us. It is the only technology, I can say. Heritage is always different, and the pieces which are made in India is always going to be wow, because 15 people or 17 people are required, and or processes are required to go ahead in that. Raipur, there is Bokra and Dokra. There are two kind of jewelries which are being made in the Konda village, and I think you're doing an excellent service by where there is no light. Also, you are telling the people how to make jewelry with the different ways of different parts of cycles which are being used, and it is the only kind of green product which is there in the industry right now. So and the master molding, excellent. Dokra, you designed the video which you showed, showing the Dokra using nut and bolt and not shouldering. I thought only shouldering was the process at this moment to join the jewelry, but now there is a new thing also you've come up with, So I think it is an excellent for the manufacturers right now to learn from you, Hemant bhai. And I think most of us will be coming to you to innovate in the coming years. Whenever there is exhibition of the new season coming up, all of us will be looking up to you for this. So I thank all the panelists, and I thank Hemant bhai, who always been a part of the Mindspeak family. Over to you, Ashok bhai.
I think we'll come back next Sunday again at 2 p.m.
Yes, yes.
With another interesting subject, another interesting list of speakers. And till then, have a wonderful day and have a wonderful week ahead of you.
Thank you.
so much.
Thanks
you
a
so
lot
much,
to everyone.
Everybody,
Bye.
thank you,
Bye-bye.
Rupa.
Thank you.
Thank
See you
you
next
so
Sunday.
much.
Rupa ji.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.